Toph Beifong, Earthbending prodigy, champion of sarcasm, unapologetic tomboy. And now, Netflix is planning to make her more feminine in their live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Recently, Miya Cech, who is playing Toph in the upcoming second season, confirmed her portrayal would differ from the animated series in two notable ways. One, Toph will be a little older, which is fine. We do know that the actors have to age naturally with the real-life children who are in this thing. But the second part is a little bit more questionable, and she says that there'll be a slightly more feminine take on Toph. In her own words, Cech explained, quote, "My version of Toph is going to be a little older and slightly more feminine. I feel like I wanted to work into a very humanizing space for her because, you know, she was a cartoon." Now, we also heard similar language to this with Sokka last year. I'll get into that a little bit more later on in this video, but the same language was used, saying that the reason why they stripped away Sokka's characterization is because they didn't want it to be so cartoonish. But again, we'll talk about it in a little bit. First, let's talk about what's going on here. Naturally, this revelation sparked a strong response online. Fans immediately took to social media to express their frustration, confusion, and disappointment. One fan pointed out that, quote, "Toph's whole character was about rejecting traditional gender roles and societal expectations." Another fan wrote, quote, "Wasn't the whole point of her leaving that she hated how her parents babied her and tried to make her more feminine? Toph wanted to fight and defend herself without relying on anyone because she knew she was capable." Other fans echoed this sentiment, noting that the play within the series even exaggerated Toph's masculinity by portraying her as a buff man, and, well, guess what? She loved it. To many, this was a direct reflection of how Toph saw herself: strong, rough around the edges, and proud of it. However, some fans tried to temper the outrage. Some fans pointed out that Toph did have layers, and there were moments in the animated series where she explored the insecurities about her appearance. Some fans reminded us that people that are saying that Toph was never feminine isn't entirely accurate, citing episodes like the Tales from Ba Sing Se, where Toph admitted she actually enjoyed feeling girly after a day at the spa with Katara, despite her usual rough exterior. But other fans noted that while it is important to acknowledge that Toph was not devoid of femininity, the concern is whether the live-action adaptation might miss the nuance that made her rejection of traditional femininity so meaningful. The reactions to this change are also informed by the previous adjustments Netflix made to the characters. Again, like I said before, in Season 1, Sokka's sexism was heavily toned down compared to the original animated series. Originally, Sokka's arc involved him learning to respect women as warriors and equals, a transformation that was meaningful and impactful. However, by softening this aspect of his character from the beginning in the live-action show, the adaptation arguably removed some of his growth and depth. Fans are understandably concerned that something similar might happen with Toph. If the live-action version leans too far in portraying her as a traditionally feminine person, it runs the risk of undermining what made her character resonate so deeply with audiences in the first place. Toph was not a tomboy because she didn't know how to be feminine. She was a tomboy because she chose to be. She was raised in a wealthy, high society family trained in proper behavior, but she rejected those expectations. She refused to let her blindness define her. She refused to let her gender box her in. She found strength and freedom by being exactly who she wanted to be, not what others wanted her to be. And personally, I have some hesitations about this change. I know friends who found Toph incredibly empowering because she wasn't the traditional idea of a proper girl. They loved that she was scrappy, tough, and unapologetic. She fought against the very pressures to be more feminine that Netflix now seems interested in revisiting. Maybe the adaptation will handle it carefully and respectfully, showing that femininity can exist alongside strength without compromising Toph's core identity. Maybe they'll explore it with nuance, just as the animated series did in small moments. But when a character's defiance of societal norms is such a major part of what makes them iconic, it's fair to ask, was this change really necessary? Toph Beifong didn't need polish, she was The Rock. But I want to hear from you all. What do you think? Are you excited to see how Netflix portrays Toph, or are you a little worried like I am that they might miss what made her character so special to begin with? Do you think adding more femininity to her character can work if handled right? And how do you feel overall about the direction of the live-action series so far? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, peace, love, and remember, be water, my friends.